Look at this, y'all. Spring is here in Japan. We got the Sakura in full bloom, and we find ourselves in Satte, Saitama once again. It's been a year since I visited, and it's always nice to get out of the city, the hustle and bustle, and enjoy time with family and friends out here at the park. And as you can see, there's quite a bit of people. And if they're all here, who's at the hard op? That's going to be us, and we're going to have it mostly to ourselves. We're going to take a look at hardware, at games, the junk section, and everything in between. So without further ado, welcome back to another episode of Retro ReWire. My name is JJ, and we are here for another In the Hunt at the Satte Saitama branch store location. And we're going to start here at the showcase, where we have a number of handheld systems like this 3D XL coming in at 15,000 yen. Beautiful there. Up above, we have some PlayStation portables. A year ago, they had quite a bit, and nothing has changed. Definitely love the blue one. I always have to point that out. And then they have a limited edition one coming in at 8,000 yen. This seems to be from the Gundam universe. Now, a year ago, they had a spectacular color, which is going to be this one. It sold, unfortunately, as I was ready to buy it. That was 12,000 yen, but hopefully it'll resurface on an In the Hunt episode in the future. But let's go ahead and make our way into the PlayStation Vita. They got an assortment here of both the 1000 and 2000 series. Quite a bit of them, actually. And then what else do we have here? Down below, we got all the Nintendo goodness and a 3DS for 5,000 yen and 7,000 yen respectively. Not too bad for the OG models there. And then we have an XL there for 7,000 yen. Wonder what's going on with that one. We got a Game & Watch, and we got some old school Game & Watches. In the back, we have a few PlayStation 3, PlayStation Vita, just an assortment of games. And then we have our controllers. So this showcase, not too bad. Just kind of mixed in with all sorts of goodness. Both handheld controllers and games and peripherals, accessories. Now, let's take a look at one for the Switch here by Hori. Midnight Blue, definitely cool looking. But let's go ahead and go to the cookies and cream, and that's going to be the hardware. A year ago, they had quite a bit in stock, and nothing has changed. The stock has changed, but it's still awesome stuff here. We got some Sega Saturns coming in at 7,000 and 5,000. And then we have one in the box, which is going to be the Christmas Nights edition for 12,000 yen. And that box looks in fairly good condition. We got a Sega SG-1000 Mark II, complete with its RF adapter. Always nice to see that. We got a Sega Mega Drive for 5,000 yen, and that's not too bad of a price. But this one really steals the show. It's going to be the Sega Mega CD coming in at 40,000 yen. Now, that's going to be the normal asking price from what I've seen here in Japan, but definitely awesome to see that Sega Mega CD. And then we have our PC Engine goodness, 12,000 for this one here, although I believe it is missing the CD portion. Now, here in the back, we have the casing here for 2,000 yen. That's not too bad of a price. And then we have the LCD monitor for the PS1 as well as the PS1 itself for 5,000 yen, 20,000 if you get the combo. And then we have a PlayStation Mini coming in at 7,000. And then look at this hot pink business, a PlayStation 2 Slim, 20,000 yen. This was awesome to see, actually. I believe there was also a fat PlayStation Pink, but first time seeing the Slim version in person. And then we have our Super Famicom greatness here next to some Nintendo 64 with 3,000 with the ones in the back, but they're probably just for the units themselves. We got some Gamecubes, that Orange Spice for 7,000 yen, and then we got one in the back. And then we got another N64 for 8,000. 4,000 there for the purple one, but I believe that's just for the actual console. And then we have some PlayStation 3s just waiting to be picked up by the next happy gamer. And then down below, we got an assortment of complete in the box Nintendo systems from the Wii, the GameCube, 64, Famicom, and Super Famicom, with one of them coming in at 5,000 yen. And then the bottom is just going to be lined with PlayStation 4 from 30,000 yen to as low as 15,000. And, you know, that's kind of quite a bit of a range there, but the 30,000 yen ones are going to be the PlayStation 4 Pro. They didn't have any PlayStation 5s, but they do have PlayStation 3. We got a Slim in the box there for 15,000 next to Xbox 360, a Slim unit for 15,000 yen, which I believe is a little bit higher price than I'm used to seeing. But then they had this Virtua Stick. Now, I recently sold mine because of the joystick. It was crap, but this one seems to have the non-ASCII version, and it's just snappy for 5,000 yen. Although I recently sold it, I got an adapter, which is why I didn't pick that one up. And then just kind of hanging here in the peg hooks, we're going to see all sorts of controllers, all sorts of cables, and all sorts of other little accessories for all your gaming needs. And some of this stuff hasn't been, it hasn't sold since I was here a year ago, which is kind of a, well, I'm not really surprised because some of these cables, you know, they're not really in demand like this one. This one was here a year ago. It's going to be for the Nintendo, and it's going to have some AV out leads there, which is kind of interesting. I wonder why that is. Maybe just to kind of daisy chain more devices. And then they still have the OG Xbox component cables there. Those have been chilling for a year. And then we got our PC Engine controllers for 1,500 yen. And I regret not picking up that white one there in the back. Now let's go ahead and make our way into the gaming aisle. Now, I want to say with this section, it's probably the weakest part of the store. They did have some GameCube here, but as you see, the prices are definitely a little bit higher. Definitely higher than what we saw at the Omiya Surugaya. But there is a few there. We got MotorStorm 2 for the PlayStation 3 coming in at 1,000 yen. I would have picked this one up, but I blew my budget, and you will see what I picked up towards the end of the video. And then here we're going to make our way into the PlayStation section. There's that PC game down there. That one was there last year. But we got Rival Schools there for 1,500 yen. And then let's pull some of these bad boys out. We got Sexy Parodius there, complete with the spine card for 3,000 yen. That's not too bad of a price. We got Poppin' Music for 1,500. I've been seeing more of these games lately. And then we got like this kind of reminds me of Wave Race, but probably not as good. And then we have Choro Q3. Here are a few things about this racing game. Maybe one day I'll try it. And then here we're just going to skim over the PlayStation 2 section. Nothing that really caught my attention, but we're all looking for different things, so definitely feel free to pause and read those spine cards. The pricing is going to be as low as 500 yen to as high as 5,000 yen here for Gradius 5, and then we have Marvel vs. Capcom 2 for 3,500 yen, and then we have our Wii U and our Wii titles, as well as, you know, they had PlayStation 4, they had Nintendo Switch. They had all the newer stuff, you know, DS, 3DS, PSP, PlayStation Vita. That hasn't really changed. So an interesting, or at least a healthy assortment. Not a whole lot, but, you know, there is some stuff to be seen here. And now we're going to make our way into the retro section. And look at this. What is this? Yoshi's Cookie? And look at the size of that manual. And it has Game Boy on there. So I wonder what's going on with that. But 1,500. Now let's take a look at the peg hooks here for the N64 titles. We got Goemon's Great Adventure, F-Zero X. Well, what do you guys think of the pricing here? I feel like I could find these titles sometimes in the junk bins for a little bit less. All those snowboarding kits for 500 yen. That's not too bad. We got some Mega Man Soccer there for the Super Famicom. And well, I'm not really sure what that is. We got some Mystical Ninja action, some Parodius, some King of the Monsters 2, 2 copies of that, some Hello Kitty action, and then what's that, Stunt Race FX. So not too bad of a selection here for the Super Famicom. Now the one game that I'm looking for, and you know the loose cart is definitely welcome, is going to be Sonic Blastman by Taito. That's a game that I used to rent back in the day, and it's definitely one that I'm keeping an eye out for. We got our Famicom titles there. We saw Rockman there briefly for 1,000 yen, which I recently picked up at a different hard off for 500 yen. And they also had Part 5 there for the same price at 1,000, with a mixture of a few more Famicom titles. Here we have our Game Boy titles, and that Toshinden is a great fighter on the Game Boy. But I'm interested in this Roadster for 1,500 yen. Haven't seen that one before. And then we have Rockman World 3 for 1,500. 3,000 for Sonic the Hedgehog on the old Sega. If you really look, you can easily find that one for less money. And then we have Super League for 1,000 yen. Now that cover reminds me of the World Cup soccer game that we saw at the Omiya Surugaya. But here we have our PC Engine, Mega CD, Sega Saturn, and Sega Dreamcast games. Not a whole lot, but there is some pretty good titles here. And then we got the lone Neo Geo title. But we have Power Stone for 1,500, Capcom vs. SNK 2 for 2,500, and we have Street Fighter 0 for 1,000, which is the new norm for that game. And then we have Deep Fear for 1,500 with the spine card. And then here we have Sonic Racing 1,500. I've been looking for this game for quite some time. Unfortunately, it didn't have an Obi card, so I let it go. And then we have the Sega Classics collection for 1,000 on the Mega CD. And then we have KOF 99 for 1,000. Here we have some Pokemon goodness, and that's just going to segue into the mostly Nintendo complete in the box games. We got Aladdin here for 1,500 yen. That's not too bad of a price. And this is the game that I grew up playing back in the day. Great platformer by Capcom back when they were handling most of the Disney games. And then here we have Super Mario Bros. 4, Super Mario World for 2,000 yen. And then we have Mario 64 for 1,500. And that one does support the Rumble features. And then here's the Retro Showcase. Let's go ahead and deep dive in here and see what we have. We got some more handheld gaming goodness. We got a pair of Game Boy Advances, each coming in at 5,000 yen. And I would definitely take the one on the left. Here we have the Clamshell Advance, and I have no idea what game that is. But definitely kind of a cool little addition there. But here we have some Game Boy Color, a Game Boy Color and a Pocket, and then the originals coming in at 10,000 yen each. Next to that, we got the PC Engine GT, 60,000 yen. Now, I featured this in the last time I was here, and it still hasn't sold. And neither has this, Darius Gaiden for 5,000 yen. That one is available on the Netmall website. We got Marvel vs. Capcom for 5,000 yen. We have Doki Doki Panic for the disc system, and then Tiny Toon Adventures like the Stadium games. Haven't played it, but I wonder if it has good music. What is this? Cat's Run for 16,000 yen. Haven't heard of that one either. Then we have Super Controller 2 for 4,000. And then we have Gradius for the Famicom in the box for 2,500 next to Super Mario Bros. For 4,000 yen, which I recently picked up, but I just got it in the junk section. It was a loose cart. We got Donkey Kong here for 3,000 yen. Kind of an interesting cover. Pretty cool, actually. And then we have Rockman 5 for 1,500 yen. And then we got Rockman 2 for 7,000. Look at that. And then we have Adventure Island 3. We got Mother and Makaimura for 1,500 yen. I would have picked that one up, but I want it complete since I'm a big Makaimura fan. I love that series. What else do we have here? We got Castlevania 3 for 4,000 yen. Now that one I will definitely add to my collection, but it wasn't a priority today. And then here we have Punch Out for 2,000 yen. I also thought about this one. But like I said, you'll see in the end what I got. I blew my budget, so I wasn't able to get some of these games, although I did want them. But we got, what do we have there? Turtles, Mutant Warriors. We got Metal Max 2. Sexy Parodius coming in at 6,000. Bahamut Lagoon for 2,000. And then we got some Mystical Ninja action. I believe this is what, part 3 or part 4 maybe? And then just a few other games here. Now let's go ahead and let's do a sweep across the loose Super Famicom titles. And I want to say the selection for the Super Famicom was very respectable, considering the quantity that they had on hand. And the pricing for some of these wasn't actually too bad. And you know, for me personally, I don't really mind buying the loose cards, especially since space is an issue. But here we have Street Fighter 2 for 3,000, Congo's Caper or Caveman Ninja 2 for 3,500. We got Magic Sword for 2,500, and that's not too bad of a price for that game. And then we have Bart's Nightmare for 4,000, although I remember not liking that game when I rented it way back in the day. We got the Super Game Boy controller coming in at 5,000 yen, and that's just going to be for the controller. And then we have this visual novel, I believe, for the PlayStation 2. Now, this was here the last time that I visited, and it's still at the same price for 20,000 yen. And then here we have our Mega Drive titles. And they have 2 copies of Dai Makaimura for 5,000 and 6,000 respectively. Looks like they have Fist of the North Star. And what is that? Forgotten Worlds. Here we have our Game Boy Advance loose titles next to the ones in the, complete in the box. But as you can see, all sorts of role-playing games. We got some Pokemon games. And then we have the 2 King of Fighters EX games. We have Part 1 and Part 2. And then interestingly, we have this Zelda double pack, which includes the Four Swords spin-off and I believe A Link to the Past. Haven't seen that one before. And then we have some Kirby action. They actually had a couple of Kirby games. What else do we have here? We got some Chibi Gundam action for 3,500. And then next to that, we got our PC Engine titles. Not sure what that one is, but it's coming in at 6,000. We got 1943. And then up above those, we got the Sega My Card. Look at that. Look at that cover. Have no idea what that game is, but it's coming in at 5,000 yen. Then we got a Sega Saturn title, which I haven't seen before, for 3,500. We got Sonic CD and Starblade Alpha. Now, I definitely wanted to ask the price on that game, but what's the point? My budget was gone at this point. But here we have a Lunar Eternal Blue, and then we have a few more games with R-Type 1 and 2, 25,000 and 2,000. Not too bad on the price there. Or 2,500, excuse me. We have Dai Makaimura there in the loose cart for 2,500. We got Sam Show 4. And then we have Super Puzzle Fighter 2X for 2,500. What else do we have here? We got X-Men vs. Street Fighter for 5,000 yen. Now, at the Omiya Surugaya, that was at 3,000 yen, if I'm not mistaken. And then here we got some Pokemon games. We got SimCity 64 for the Nintendo Disk Drive for 20,000 yen. 15,000 for that Spy Hunter. That's still there from last time. 5,000 for that Ace Combat 4. I wonder what the deal is for those games. I feel like they shouldn't be that expensive. But here we had the Neo Geo Pocket with the games. Now, a lot of these games were here last time, and only a few have sold since then. So they are moving very slowly, but they are moving. And then we have a few N64 games. We got 007, Fighting Cup, and Bomberman 64. But this thing was a little bit tempting, but at that price, now is not the time. But definitely love that color. And then we have a Micro for 13,000 yen. I've been wanting one of these. And then we're going to make our way into the junk section. Now, the junk section is the place where dreams can become a reality. So never underestimate the junk section. Here we have the showcase. So let's take a look here what's inside. A lot of it is going to be handhelds, but we do have a Slim and a PC Engine CD-ROM unit. And that one probably just needs like the little gear swapped out. So it could be potentially an easy fix. And look at this, 1,500 yen, a little bit rough there on the thumbstick. And then we have a Game Boy for 5,000 yen. This is the yellow one. We got some 3DSs, some Switch controllers, and more 3DS action. And definitely feel free to pause, put up your translator, and it's gonna tell you exactly what's going on with this good old junk stuff. But here we are in the main junk stacks. And let's take a look at the little bins here. And look at that. We got a controller converter for the Wii and the GameCube. I definitely picked that one up. It was only 300 yen. And then look at all these DualShock controllers, quite a bit, as well as Super Famicom. That's usually going to be the norm in the junk section, as well as Wiimotes and all sorts of like audio video leads. Now, I am looking for an S-Video cable for the 360, as I do want to enjoy it on the CRT. And I'm just trying to get that fidelity a little bit sharper. But one day, I hope to find that cable. And then we have N64 controllers, all sorts of UMD discs. Now, I remember picking up, a Soul Calibur for the PSP for 100 yen. That was probably one of my better pickups in the junk section for PSP goods. Here we have some Famicom stuff. And we also have N64 and more Super Famicom games. And let's take a look at the Super Mario carts to just kind of get an idea of their pricing. Here we have the first cart, not too bad of shape there, for 300 yen. The back is a little bit crusty. And then here we have this one with the little residue on there for 500 yen, so a little bit more. And then we have another copy here, which isn't too bad, and that one's coming in at 500 yen. So not too bad there, I guess, for the Super Mario carts. And then here, 300 yen for a Nintendo Super Famicom. A little bit yellowed, but with a little bit of cleaning, some of that can come out. We got a Sega Saturn here, and it's coming in at 2,000 yen, and it looks like it's equipped with Super Robot Wars. We got the Model 1 for 1,500, and then we have another Model 2 in the back. So quite a bit of Sega Saturn here in the junk section. And this one is coming in at 2,000 yen. And then next to that, look at this. We got a Super Gun. This is the Vega. My goodness, this thing was so tempting. I would have picked this up, but 30,000 yen. Yeah, that's not going to happen, at least not this time. But I've been wanting a Super Gun. That's just a whole nother world, you know, getting into arcade PCBs. But look at this bad boy. Look at them buttons. And I kind of messed around with it a little bit. And I want to say the buttons and the joystick were still fairly in good shape. And then here it just kind of lists the issue that it has. But And those leads look like Sega Saturn leads. And then here we have our in and out ports. Whew, man, that thing was tempting. But this is what I got. Look at this. A PC Engine Duo R for 8,000 yen. Now it's saying that it's not powering on, so there is an issue. But I picked it up, cleaned it up, and now it's in full working order. So super happy to get that pickup there in the junk section. And man, I'm definitely going to make an episode all about junk, so stay tuned for that. But anyhow, this is going to be Satte Hard Off, the Satte Saitama Hard Off, and I hope to see you all soon. Ciao.